At the edge of an international border, at the edge of the Pacific, at the edge of innovation, community, education, and discovery, you're listening to At the Edge of It All, a University of San Diego podcast where USD experts speak on topics and stories that impact you and the broader community.
Hello there, I'm Lizette Martinez. Thank you for joining us on At the Edge of It All. And today we have another special episode of the Athletics Edge edition, a series of sports episodes that we're doing here at the University of San Diego. And we have two very special guests with us today. We have head baseball coach Brock Ungricht. Thank you for being here with us. And the man of the hour, the man of the team, we have Austin Smith with us today. Thank you for taking the time to sitting down with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very excited to chat with you guys today because you're coming off of a wonderful, wonderful season of baseball at USD, and you're about to embark on a new one. And so we're going to get into all of that. But as our listeners know, I love to talk to you guys about who you all are as individuals outside of the sport. How did you get to where you're at today? What makes you tick? Get to know a little bit about you guys. And Coach, I'd love to start with you. I know that you are a native San Diegan, so share with us a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having us on the show, Lizette. We really appreciate it. I grew up here in San Diego, played at Mission Bay High School, went to school there. One of our baseball team there was one of the best teams in the country during that time, my junior and senior season. And I think that really helped kind of solidify that winning pedigree and really knowing what it takes to win and how to win. And, our coach of that program, was one of the best all-time coaches in California and in the country as well, too. And he had a really good track record of winning CIF championships. So I think that really helped kind of solidify me wanting to, play further along in college and then professionally. And then I ended up playing at San Diego State for Tony Gwynn.
We wouldn't hold that against you.
Yes. Playing for him, I think that really inspired me to want to really coach. And he really cared about his players. He really cared about their careers individually as well as the team's success. And then from there, I was fortunate to get drafted by the Yankees and play professionally for a couple of years before I started my coaching career.
That's fantastic. Now, before we go to Austin really quick, and before we get into that part of your life, your dad was also a coach, right? And a teacher at the high school.
Yes, yeah, and coaching in our blood and our family with him as well. He coached for over 25 years. He was a cross country and track coach. As well as a math teacher, PE teacher at the high school. And I always joke around. I said he was the best salesman because he had to sell people on how to run. Nobody likes to run.
Are you a good runner, Coach?
I do run every day.
Okay,
yes, it's part of my therapy. And so do our guys as well, too. And with running, you learn a lot about yourself, but it builds mental toughness.
Right.
As well as keeping you healthy as well, too. So he was a big impact in my life.
Austin, what about you? Tell us about your youth career. You went to Granite Hills, right?
Yes, went to Granite Hills High School down in El Cajon. Started playing baseball when I was 7 years old. Me and all my brothers played baseball and football growing up. And then my dad played professionally for a couple of years. So just like every day, being able to wake up with like that role model in front of you to really help like you learn the game of baseball and just to play the game I love. So started doing that, played Little League with all my friends. Then I went to high school, played there for Granite, was overlooked a little bit throughout high school, was always a smaller person, and then worked my way up to be able to be where I am today with Coach Ungricht here at USD.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because everyone, when they see athletes that are having great seasons and lots of accolades, they don't think about all the downsides or the setbacks. And not everybody has like a beautiful, colorful story to tell, right? There's many ups and downs in sports. And you were saying that you went through some setbacks, but how were you able to come across to the other side?
Just going to like mental toughness of like, this is my dream. Like one day I want to play in the major leagues. So doing whatever it takes to accomplish that goal. So looking back at it as in doing what I had to do or what I get to do. And that's just what I did every day, waking up, work out, eat a lot of food, play baseball, and then just like knowing that like I was able to accomplish that to be at this university now.
Now, Coach, you went to college. Talk to us about that experience. Did you ever have any setbacks as an athlete?
Yes, and I think it's important, that speaking of Ozzy here as well too, that you see the day to day, and Ozzy gets a lot of love, national recognition, a lot of awards, and he's earned that. But the work that goes into it and the time that he spends, as well as our other players, to achieve their goals is second to none. And it's pushing through a lot of adversity. And then as for myself, like when I played in college, I was an All-American my freshman year, and I had a huge setback my sophomore year, and I remember that significantly because it was the day-to-day. I got to play every day, but my success wasn't there like it was the year before. And I think it allows you to dig down deep to find out what you're really about, right? Do you really believe in yourself? Are you grateful that you get to play the game each and every day? And it kind of grounds you to put things into perspective for your goals, like Ozzy was talking about, to achieve those goals eventually, and to overcome them with still believing in your ability and believing in the athlete or the person that you are. And luckily was able to come out on the other side of it.
So talk to us about beyond college. Take us through your journey after you graduated. We all love to hear those stories. What happened? Where'd you go? How did you live that part of your life for those who, watched you doing it? Like, give us a behind the scenes of your life after college.
Yeah, I got drafted by the Yankees and wanted to, that was a dream, right? Just like it's Austin's to play professionally, to play as long as you can. And the thing is, you don't have control over that, and you don't have control when they're going to say, hey, it's your time's done, or if you don't get that opportunity. So that put life into perspective for me because I knew I wanted to be a part of the game. So when I was done, I got released. I really wanted to find, life in baseball via coaching. And I was able to start my coaching career at nearby Kearney High School as the head coach of the varsity team. And we were able to win a league title my first year and turn around that program. They won 2 games the year before. And then from there, Tony Gwynn offered me my first college job as an volunteer assistant coach at San Diego State. And to go be able to work alongside him was something I'll never forget. And how much of an impact he was for me to be a coach. And he was a mentor and like a dad figure, if you will. And then kind of followed that dream and that passion, and got moved to Stanford and was there for 6 years. And thank God was able to come back home to San Diego and be here at USD for the last 7 years.
What did you learn from Tony Gwynn? I'm interested to know how that relationship was. I know he was like a special mentor to you, but how was the day-to-day? And is there one thing that you can think back and say, I learned this from him?
He was authentic, genuine. He was who he was, like as you saw on TV with his laugh, and he loved to give you a hard time, and he was really tough on you, tough on me, tough on his players. But knowing that he really cared and he wanted what's best for you, like more than himself. He wanted you to be the best version of yourself. He would always talk about knowing who you are, and he would say, know who you is. And we say that in our program all the time, but it's such an important message in life to really have a true understanding of who you are as a person and how you tick, as compared to trying to be somebody you're not. And I think having a real sense of reality is key for you to grow as a person, continually grow. So that's something that I'll never forget from him.
So Austin, tell us about your journey here at USC. You also didn't start at USC your freshman year, right? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I attended UC San Diego my freshman year. Played there for 1 year, had a good time, but playing, I played USD on a midweek on a Tuesday, and just walking onto the campus and seeing the stadium and the atmosphere, I was sold. I knew I wanted to play here. So after that year, I entered the transfer portal. As time went on, Skip gave me the phone call, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a Torero. This is my dream. So came here, and then just the campus, the people I've met here, it's been truly amazing. Just super grateful for it.
You're a senior now, so you're towards the end of your college career. What has been the biggest takeaway for you in the years that you've been here as a student athlete?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is just enjoying every moment I've had, because time has been flying. Like, it just felt like the other day I was a freshman in college, and now I'm a senior in my last season. But I would say just being present in the present moment, and then just enjoying what I have with all my brothers around me, and just have fun.
I also understand that you have grown incredibly in the years that you have been here, and you're a very special player, a two-way player, they call it, right? I'm a soccer mom, so don't laugh at me if I get my
No, you're
my
right.
lingo
You're right
wrong.
on. You're
Can
doing
you
great.
talk to us about that? Well, first of all, Coach, why is that so special for him to be a two-way player, and how has that been beneficial to the team? And then we can talk to you about how you got to be that way.
Yeah, no, I think it's rare in college baseball. And, you know, in the recruiting process, I think a lot of people will say, yeah, we'll give you the opportunity to do both. And, you know, and you say that and you do give that opportunity, but, you know, the game kind of pushes you in a different direction, meaning like one or the other most
Right.
times. And Ozzy never flinched from that. You know, we joke with Ozzy all the time, like, you're a pitcher, you know, and you're a pitcher that hits, and Ozzy loves hitting as well as pitching. But he's just outstanding on both sides, and it takes a special individual and a special young man mentally to be able to deal with
Right.
that day in and day out, because you're having to, you know, put one cape on, if you will,
Right.
and go be a superhero on the mound, and then put another cape on and be a superhero at the plate, and be able to compartmentalize and separate both. But what makes Ozzy so special is his competitive edge. Like, Ozzy will do anything for anybody and for his teammates, and he wears his heart and sleeve, you know, on his heart on his sleeve, on his jersey. You can see it when he competes, and that's what makes it so fun to watch us play, because he's kind of, you know, the guy out there that's like, oh wow, they vibe off of Ozzy. The players truly vibe off of Ozzy when he's in the box or on the mound.
So how did you get to be that way? I mean, I know your dad played professionally, obviously, and you grew up in a home of baseball players and football players. So talk to us about what you learned from your father and your upbringing that got you to be that versatile player that you are now.
Yeah, so growing up with my dad, it was always just that role model that I looked up to, the motivation to be like the player he was. But it's funny because he was never a pitcher. He was never anything like that. He was just a center fielder and a right-handed hitter. So kind of just me being a left-handed thrower, it kind of set the stage a little bit for I'm able to do both, because as a lefty, like, you're not playing many infield positions besides first base. So kind of just growing up, just being like really athletic, I played all the positions. So once I got to high school, I was pitching and I was hitting, and I really didn't think much about it. Like, oh, I'm doing both. It was just like, I'm showing up to the yard today,
Right.
I'm pitching. I'm showing up to the yard today, I'm hitting. I'm showing up to the yard today, I'm in the outfield. So it was just something that naturally came to me, and just super grateful for my coaches to allow me to do it. But super thankful for like all the work that I've put in and all of my teammates and coaches have put in for me to be able to succeed doing it. Because it is tough, but the way I look at it is I'm just having fun playing baseball, doing both of these things.
And you, speaking of you and the rest of the team, because when I spoke to you earlier, you mentioned the team all the time. Like, you're like, we're all like this. We're all like this. The team had an incredible season, you know, this last season that wrapped up. Talk to us about that, right? You guys won the WCC championship. You won the tournaments, and then got to go to the NCAA, right? And had a fantastic first game there. I believe that only the 10th time in program history that you guys have been to the NCAA tournament. Talk to us about the season. I mean, how incredible.
Well, the season was really fun. I mean, winning baseball games is always fun. So when you're winning, you're having a great time. But I think it goes back to not just winning baseball games. It's going back to what we're doing behind the scenes that no one else is looking at.
Tell us about
When we're
that.
when we get to wake up at 6 a.m. and condition for an hour, it's tough. But it's the stuff you need to do to be great, and that's just a mentality. If you want to be a great baseball player, you have to put in the extra work that no one else is willing to do. So I think it really speaks about our team last year and this year and all of the teams here under coach. But I think we talked about like leadership a little bit yesterday, but I think it's really good when there's not just one or two leaders on the team. There's 38 of them that have a voice.
Right.
So when you're showing up to the yard with all of your brothers and you're pulling for one another, that's the reason why you can have success on the baseball field, because there's not a guy going up to the plate going, I have to hit a home run here, I have to hit a home run here. And like, I need to do this for myself. We don't play baseball like that here. We play baseball by passing the torch, getting the next guy up, or someone's on the mound pitching and just getting out of the inning to give the next guy a chance. So it's really like, we don't play selfish baseball here. We play San Diego baseball, which is just everyone has a job to do. Everyone has a role in the team. And I think that's why we're so successful and win a lot of baseball games.
I love that. We play San Diego baseball. So, Coach, tell me how you get the team to be like that. Is it in the recruiting process? Are these student athletes that already come with that mentality? Or they come here and this is what is expected of them? Because, in sports in general, regardless of the organized sport, the team sport, it's always hard to get either parents and athletes on the same boat in terms of it's a team sport. Right. Everybody has a role to play. There's always someone who's trying to outshine the other, or who's trying to get the accolades, or who's trying to go for that goal, or trying to make that, home run. But it's not that way here. So how do you make it work that way?
I think it's just being honest in the recruiting process, totally, from day one, and what you see in the recruiting process is what you're going to see when you step foot onto campus. Explaining our standards and our expectations, our core values, and kind of how we do things within the program, and just being totally transparent. And if it's like we even tell them in the recruiting process, if it's not the right fit, that's okay.
And you've had those situations where
100%,
you're like,
yeah, 100%. And it solves a lot of problems before stepping foot on the campus, and we don't want to waste their time, or, likewise in retrospect. Right. So looking at that's the first point of conversation. And then when they get in the program, it's day in and day out. We do a lot of community service. We try to lead, the university and community service hours for all our sports teams, as well as in the conference. I think a couple years ago we had the top team, for community service hours in the conference. So asking our guys to do a lot. Like I tell them constantly, like, nobody does what you guys do. As many games as we play the most games. As far as a collegiate sport is concerned, they play 4 games a week for 5.5 months. With that, they take 15 units. Each guy is required to take 15 units. NCAA requires 12 units.
Wow.
We had a team GPA of 3.35, the highest in program history this last semester. They're heavily involved every weekend in the community in the fall. We're doing free clinics to local little leagues. We're serving, our community downtown. We packed 2,000 meals. 2,000 meals. I think it was right before the holiday season for the homeless. So a bunch of different things that we do. We're heavily involved in the autism tree on our Sunday home games. So win or lose, our guys will have a buddy, with the autism tree, and they'll go out there and play catch and play wiffle ball after each Sunday home game at Fowler Park. And what that does is it just shows that, like Ozzy said, we have 38 leaders, and we're constantly striving to be leaders in all different avenues in the way of life, right? Leaders in the classroom, leaders in the community, leaders on the field, leaders for one another. And having that selfless mindset constantly allows it to translate to the field. And there's no better joy when these guys are so pumped and so happy for their teammates' success, more so than their own success. And that's when you have a really strong team.
Right. I wonder how you see things. I mean, I think it's so wonderful. We've talked to other coaches here at USD and to the athletic director, obviously, about the importance of thinking beyond just the sport, right? Which is why you likely put all this emphasis on community service and your academics, because yes, we would love to see everybody go to have a professional career in the sport that they have. But the reality is that is very tough, right? And most of the players in the team will go have a very successful life outside of the sport, or even within the sport, but maybe not playing, right? So how do you see things? Like, it cannot be easy to hold that high of a GPA when you're playing so many games, when you're traveling so much, when you're also doing community work, and then you have your friends and your regular life, right? So I'd love to hear your perspective on how you get all that done.
Time management, but knowing that, like, coming to school, like, yes, you are playing baseball, but at the end of the day, you are a student athlete. So being able to go to school each day, and the goal is to get the degree from this amazing university, because once you're done with baseball is always going to come to an end. So knowing you have that degree to lean on is it's beneficial. And then looking at it the community service wise, it's always a great opportunity to help out the people in need, or because, like, thinking about it, like, when I was 7 years old or 8 years old, like, I always wanted to be some big baseball player. So when I saw my brother's friends or the people around me and looking at them, I'd always be like, wow, like, can I do what they do, or can they help me? So now when I have the chance to be that person to go help
That role
out
model.
at little leagues, and each day help them like play baseball, play catch with them, and just watch their eyes like light up when they see the University of San Diego baseball team walk onto the little league field. It's just something that feels really good, because knowing one day that was me. So now
It takes you back to that time.
Exactly. Yes, for
Wow,
sure.
that's fantastic. And another important thing here, I think, is, and we touched on this a little bit, is the cohesiveness of the team, and how you're able to bring student athletes of this caliber together and keep them, coach, because athletics is changing constantly. The environment, the landscape with the transfer portal, and the name, image, and likeness situation. How are you doing it, coach, to make sure that you bring these kids in and they want to stay here?
Well, I think it's a lot with the getting the right type of guy. Yeah, I think navigating through the transfer portal, is a real thing in college athletics right now. But getting the right type of fit, the right type of individual, the right type of family that values academics, that values, again, that kind of that hungry and humble mentality that we're looking for, that wants to be a part of that program and as a true freshman, and understands what they're getting into. I think we've had, I wouldn't say luck, but we've had a really good standing with keeping our players because of that. And love and accountability, I think, is big in our program, where love is real. Like, I'll tell our players that we love you, like,
Right.
and it's genuine, it's authentic, it's real. And then at the same time, like, we're gonna love you hard, and we're gonna coach you hard too. And having that discipline, that accountability, and that structure allows them to do it, and it becomes a player-led team. As Ozzy's one of our captains, we're all leaders, but Ozzy's going to do the same thing. He's going to love his teammates, and he's also going to hold them accountable too. So it becomes a level of respect from player to player, and admiration too. Like, I don't want to let that guy down. Like, he
Right.
told me the truth. He called me out. I don't want to let him down.
So how do you see your coach in all this? When you and I talked earlier this week, we talked about the dynamic of the team and how great you guys are together, but you said it all comes from the top.
Yes, so talking about how it all comes from the top, like, we're a family, we're such a tight-knit group. So when coach is like addressing us, or just each day we see him, it's always an open door policy. I can walk into his office any time of the day, have a conversation with him, talk about life. So I think that's really important, that when I show up to the field, he's not my baseball coach. Like, he's not going to talk to me only about baseball. He really wants to know, like, how I'm doing as a person, how's school, how my family is. So I think having that, being able to talk to a coach like that, and then all the players will do that. So now, as individuals, when we're talking with each other, we just have that bond, or like that comfortability of, this is how, like, we play the game, and then that's how we're such a tight-knit group. Like, we're a family, and we always talk about family at this program, because it's the most important thing. And I think having such a tight group leads to so much success in every aspect, not just baseball, but as a person, doing what we do off the field, and then obviously on the field.
It's not a transactional situation here, it seems.
No, it's transformational for sure. And it's got to be genuine, right? And it takes time to build relationships, but then trust is earned and respect is earned, integrity. The integrity and respect is part of our core values. And with that, that's how you build a family. Having open, honest conversations, not sugarcoating anything, and just being able to let your guard down and just have a real relationship, and I think that's key.
So, Coach, how do you feel that last season, you literally had 5 players drafted?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's a representation again of, like, just how we do things, and the habits and the work ethic and the team, right? And those awards, like Ozzy's awards that he got last year too, it's all reflection of the team, being so strong together, right? Having each other's back. And in turn, like, if we focus on the team stuff and do our job, like Ozzy said, fill the gap when we need to, then we'll be able to achieve those dreams and those self goals that we have. Like, Ozzy's goal is to play professionally, and the way he goes about his business and being such a selfless teammate, I have no doubt that he's going to be able to check those boxes, So with those 5 guys being drafted, it's, again, just such a great representation of those guys as great people too, and being selfless teammates.
Right. And you guys had a wonderful celebration on Friday to celebrate your championship. You got your championship rings. I'm sure it was a blast. But now you have to keep your eyes on this upcoming season. So, Coach, what can people in San Diego and elsewhere expect this year? You come from such a high. Is it extra pressure when that happens, or it's like any other season? Talk to us about that.
I think it's great. I love the question, and we're in position, which is we're very grateful to be in this position to answer that question, and grateful to have those expectations, totally, because they've earned that. But it goes again with what we do. It's like playing any other opponent or any other team or any other school, or if it's a regional game or a conference tournament or a big game, we just stay with our process and we stay playing San Diego baseball. You heard Ozzie say that. And really, we are so process-oriented that to push the result stuff aside and really focus in. If we're taking care of our process and we're diligent in that process with our practice, our lifts, our runs, and being very disciplined with that, then we truly, truly believe that the results will be there. And so, when you have guys like Austin Smith coming back, Jack Gurevich, Logan Redeman, those three in particular had a significant time and were a big impact of our championship team last year. Having those guys back, especially with Logan and Austin on the mound on the weekend, that really puts you in a good position, to be successful coming up in this 2025 season. We've done a good job with the transfer portal, adding pieces to go along the way to help those guys on the mound as well as at the plate. And we're really excited about the talent, some of the talent that we've brought in, as well as our freshman class too.
I was going to say, every year there's got to be shifts, right? Because people are going out, people are coming in. How are things looking? You said great for the people that you've added so far?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is we're such, again, that team identity was our focus in the fall was, okay, how do we get, some of the transfers and the new guys to understand how we play baseball,
right?
And kind of like our program, how it ticks and all that. And these guys, by the end of the fall, they just did an outstanding job of bringing them in, welcoming them to their family, and then really teaching them how we play the game and how we go about our business. And I give Austin and a lot of the returners a ton of credit. And it's not like it's just easy. They had to navigate through it, and they had some challenging times. They had some adverse moments to really overcome and learn how to work together and work, and go behind the scenes and really roll up their sleeves, if you will, and figure that out. So I'm really proud of them to this point, to where our team is as we're ready to embark on this season ahead.
So how do you do that, Austin? How do you welcome in the newbies and, get them up to speed on how this team kind of works? Is that difficult for you?
I want to say it's difficult, especially knowing that it's not just me who's helping them transform into this process, but it's a lot of the guys on this team who, at least if you've been here for 1 year, like, you're so capable of allowing to help the new guys, because we talk about how it's a process. So we have every single person who's like bought into this process. Like, the train's rolling and like all of us are on it. So having the new guys come, it's always great because, like, obviously I was once a new guy. So having the older guys like Jack Costello, Will Worthington help me out when I was younger. Now it's just my turn to do the same thing along with all the other guys. So teaching them the process every day, how we do it the same way, playing San Diego baseball. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's a challenge at all. It's fun because playing San Diego baseball is a really exciting thing to do. So it's fun to teach it and talk about it.
Well, as we wrap up this segment, I want to ask you both two separate questions. One, I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, what are you looking for in baseball players? Because there may be some young ones out there listening to this podcast, or their parents that are trying to get into USD baseball. So they want to hear from you. What should they be doing right now? And what are the characteristics that you look at?
Yeah, I think it's, being hungry, being capable, being talented enough, and being humble, and I think that, all three of those things match up, and if they're evenly across the board, and that goes with everything you do, right? In the academic world, being a great student, being a great person, working really hard and having the talent to be able to play at this level, we're definitely going to be on you, and we're going to want you to be a part of this university. And to keep it as simply stated as that, we also try to really dominate our own backyard, as you can see here, and keep the best local players here at home. because it's important, because Ozzy has a pride of San Diego, just like myself, being from here too. And every uniform that we wear says San Diego across our chest for a reason. Because we don't only represent the University of San Diego, but we represent this community in a first-class way.
And what advice do you have for other little Austins that are running around right now at the baseball field? What advice would you give them now that you're in your senior year, highly decorated, and you have a great future ahead of you? What do you want to say to them?
I'd say the biggest thing is just to have fun. At the end of the day, it is just a game. But knowing that you've worked your whole life for something, you're going to run through adversity. So at the end of the day, just push through everything. Have that mentality where you are the best. Confidence is key. But when you're out there with your friends creating memories, there's nothing better than that. So a little someone younger than me, I'd say smile when you're on the baseball field, have fun, laugh with your buddies, and just create great memories.
You know, that's wonderful. I've heard that from almost every coach I've interviewed. They want to see kids who are smiling when they're out there playing what they play. You know, and I think that's a wonderful message, because people can get so, one directional about they have to do this, they have to do that, you have to get the scholarship, you have to be in this program, you have to play, and they forget about just the fun aspect of the game.
Yeah, you got to find the fun. We talk about that a lot, right? Where it's diligent, it's discipline, it's these guys want to be so good, and you want things, a certain way so much, and you hold on to it so tight. But going back to being kind of having our grateful mentality, being appreciative for what we get to do every day, it grounds you, and we talk about it. And these guys actually, they live it, they talk about it themselves. And when you have that, then it brings out the joy. And you gotta have fun, and you gotta love to play, but you gotta love to practice.
Right.
And these guys do a great job.
Well, you've got them trained well, because I remember in one of the questions you answered, you caught yourself and you said, when we wake up, you said, when we get to wake up at 6 a.m. in practice. So I love that. And then one question from our producer that he really wants answered, and I think it's an important question. What is the difference between college baseball and professional baseball? Is there a big stepping stone from one to the other?
I mean, you're playing against the best players in the world now, right? So I think that's a different, part of it, right? So, the game is becoming, so worldly, if you will. And I think that's a big part. And, talented kids that you're playing against from high school, that maybe didn't go play in college. But again, at the end of the day, we've had a lot of players that have, gone on and had a lot of success in the professional ranks and make it to the big leagues. And I think it's just, again, sticking with, these great habits that Austin and the rest of the guys have really instilled in themselves, and going out and really having the confidence and believing in themselves when they go play professionally. Now the grind is real. It's 140, 160 games, and you're playing every day. So I think being able to adapt to that is key. And I'm excited for the guys that we have, that their pro careers are on their horizon, and the guys that we currently have in the minor leagues right now as they're knocking on the door to the big leagues.
Well, you're obviously doing something right here. So thank you so much. Thank you for playing great San Diego baseball. And thank you to our listeners and whoever is watching our episodes for joining us. And if you like this episode, we have many more. So be sure to subscribe to catch our next one.